It's time for Cole to crucify that crest at Old Trafford. Yo, people, welcome back to the YouTube channel. You already know what time it is. It's time for another video. Big up your damn selves in the building. Make sure you smash up the likes every single damn time and subscribe if you are new. Manchester United versus Chelsea preview. Big game. I'm going to be a lot calmer, a lot more composed in this preview, but I'm seeing a very nervous Nelly fan base around me. They are bricking it. I can see it. A lot of you very skeptical, very nervous for that trip to Old Trafford because our record is appalling. Let's just get it out the way early doors. Last 11 games, 5 defeats, 6 draws. I get it. You guys are nervous wreck, but I'm here to put confidence into you and make you believe that we can go there and assert ourselves, dominate and win this game as we should, because we can't stroll around and big up our chests about this squad and about the recruitment and about the scouting and about the manager and then travel to 14th place Manchester United and shiver me timbers. We have to distance ourselves. We have to create a gap. We have to make it very clear that we are another level, and that is what top teams, good teams do. And that's what we have to do. So you have to embrace the pressure, embrace the responsibility, embrace the favourites, embrace the fact that we are expected to do damage, and just go ahead and back the team to do it, because if they can't, then we have to reserve ourselves going forward, very much so more than you can believe, because the gap to Manchester United and Tottenham and teams like that will close immensely. So we need to make that gap bigger. Now, listen, it is a tough away day in terms of the record, but these players have not played in all of those 11 games. These players are not mentally scarred. They're not traumatized. If we had kept the same squad over the last 6-7 years and we had the same players rolling into these fixtures at Old Trafford, I could understand a bit of mental, psychological effect and toll it might take to go to this stadium. But most of these players that we have played there maybe once for us. We've only just signed them, some of them. We change our playing squad so often that they don't even know what it's like to play at Old Trafford in a Chelsea shirt. So they just need to take this game in isolation, as well as the manager, his first trip to Old Trafford, and play their game. And we're going to get to that later on in the tactical pad. But before we go any further, we must shout out our sponsors, Proton VPN, for sponsoring this video. Check it out. We interrupt this video for a special announcement. I've seen it, I've lived it. You lot in the live chat, screaming, screeching, whinging, whining, crying because you don't have the game on the go and the countdown to kickoff is incoming and the game is not accessible in your location. You think you're gonna fumble the football, but you need the right tools to get the right results. We deliver the dopamine more than you can believe, so no matter where you are, we will be there. And that is why today's sponsor is Proton VPN. Proton VPN is waiting in acres of space on the wing, ready to receive your needs with over 6,500 servers in over 110 countries. You will be able to watch on the websites you wish to. It's not just about the football. Proton VPN is keeping your online activities private, safe, and secure, so you can stream, browse, and shop to your drop more than you can believe, as your data is protected. So don't let your location ruin your football experience. You make sure you get the exclusive offer with 55% off a 24-month subscription. You click the link in the description and you don't play games, you watch the game. Let's get back into the video. So there you are, guys, the exclusive offer in the link in the description and the QR code. Make sure you support. Much appreciated as always. We're closing in on 100k. Smash up them likes, make sure you subscribe, and let's get into the presser where there is some pressing needs that need to be addressed here. It's a very good press conference again from Maresca. I always enjoy them. I think he always, speak very eloquently, very well, comes across brilliantly, addresses some very sticky booby trap questions that are always thrown at him about the playing squad, about why he's not playing, and he always comes out with the same kind of rhetoric, and maybe people should just expect the answers at this point. But I want to start with, obviously, Enzo Fernandez. It's been a big topic, it seems, on YouTube in the last couple of days on social media. He obviously had the whole personal issue that he had with his wife that went out across the social medias. I think she posted on Instagram. At the end of the day, really the only thing that concerns us is his playing performances, is his, is whether or not he's delivering on the pitch. And if he's not, he won't start. And Lavia and Caicedo, very heavily hinted by the manager, are going to play this game because of their physical, more physical light attributes that will hopefully shore us up defensively and bring a bit more unity into the way we defend. It means that Maresca is not saying that he doesn't trust Enzo at all. He's saying that in his quotes. He's not saying that he will never play again. He's made it very clear that regardless of him not being in the team probably for Sunday and previously, it doesn't mean he's not going to play going forward. But that personal stuff is not really any of our business. And at the end of the day, he's young, getting married that young, having kids that young, it doesn't mean that for the rest of your life, you're going to want to live that life. Now, we're not to judge. We don't know what's going on. It's his personal business. He just has to sort it out. All I care about is how he's performing on that pitch. And if he doesn't perform on that pitch quickly, not only is he going to continue to be on the bench, but he's also going to have a big threat from Andre Santos, because that's exactly what the manager was asked as well. Andre Santos, how do you think he's developing at Strasbourg? What do you make of his box-to-box attributes? One of the best in intercepting, tackling in Ligue 1, also getting goals. For me, as I've always said, one of those talents that I am so looking forward to the fact that I would almost sacrifice quite a few for him. He was in my top 10 when I was on Alex's playback byline podcast. I was speaking on the fact that in my top 10 of Chelsea players that we cannot allow to go anywhere. If I was to pick a 10, he's on my 10 in that list. So he's one of those players that next summer hopefully comes back into the frame and we really get to see his versatility in that midfield, and we get to see an all-action midfielder again, because that's something that we almost forget. We can have a midfielder that tackles, we can have a midfielder that intercepts, we can have a midfielder that's press resistant, that can pass, that can score goals. We need everything at times, and he looks like he can bring that. So very much looking forward to his arrival. But yeah, he did shut down the Enzo Fernandez questions in terms of long-term him playing. And at the end of the day, whether he suits this league or he suits La Liga, he could be going to Real Madrid. There's been very little rumours that, Tchouameni and Enzo, and there's interest and whatnot. As long as Chelsea Football Club get themselves back to the top of the Premier League and back to the latter stages of the Champions League to compete, I don't care who has to be sacrificed, who didn't work out. We can't make a song and dance about this. At the end of the day, we're meant to be a top club, top institution, and if we have to be ruthless at the end of the season, if we have to make difficult deals, if we have to make a swap to see if we can get the best out of someone that's not working out at Real Madrid and they can get the best out of someone that's not working out here, then so be it. It's not to say he's a bad player. I've always said I rate Enzo Fernandez very highly, but if it doesn't work out, I'm not going to be, pissing around over the sale and the exit. I'm just going to move on and we keep it stepping. So yeah, let's see if he can get himself back into this team. But the manager's very heavily hinted that he's going to be playing Lavia and Caicedo in this game, and that's not really a surprise. He also had a lot of compliments for Jackson's form. I said it in midweek, Jackson's stocks are just going to keep rising. Every time we keep seeing Nkunku up front in that striker position role. He's not making any crazy runs. He's not putting in any crazy levels of press. He's not creating any crazy level of chances. He's not giving crazy levels of link up. He's not doing the things that Jackson is able to do in that striker position. And I feel like, and I said at the start of the season, Nkunku was more of a 10 or more of a supporting act. But at this point, you need to be careful that we don't have any space for any more supporting acts. We've got Palmer in there, and he doesn't look like he's moving anytime soon. And then after him, you've still got that battle with Felix, who, even though in midweek he missed a lot of chances, he was still a lot more involved. He was still a lot more threatening in terms of him getting in dangerous areas. Still not good enough, by the way. So it's going to be interesting, and we love to sign players, so we'll see how that all works out. But Jackson, vital for this game, absolutely vital, and I want him to really see Martinez as a weak point where he can target physically and get amongst him and win aerially on that. We always speak about centre backs aerially, going up against Jackson and maybe having a bit of an advantage, but this is an opportunity for him to pin himself to Martinez and show his physicality, show his strength, show his ability in the air if it's improving. So I want to see that. Enzo was also asked about the clean sheets and the lack of them. He did kind of hint, the way that I saw his answer was, were we winning those games? Yes. Okay, so then don't really want to, dig into it too much. It doesn't seem like a priority of his. He said that we've got a lot of other issues as well. We've got a load of issues, and I have to prioritize which issue I fix first, because I can't fix every issue at once, which is fair. So it doesn't feel like clean sheets and are defending with the goals we're conceding in the box, very close quarters to the goal, not necessarily long shots and, punts and individual brilliance. We're conceding a lot of cheap goals. Doesn't seem like it's his high priority. And that circles back to the fact that he said to the Sanchez, kind of debate and the criticism of his performances, if Sanchez stops playing the way I'm asking him to play out from the back, taking those risks, potentially conceding those goals, I'm going to drop him for the lack of bravery. So we're starting to see where Maresca's going in terms of the way that he sees that build up, that very much wants to play through the first phase. And we're going to have to talk about it in tactical pad because I think it's going to be a very big part of this game. And yeah, it seems like he's going to live and die on that sword with Sanchez and also how we defend at the moment. Maybe he doesn't feel like internally we have the option to fix it. As much as Lavia and Caicedo are a good partnership, Lavia in particular has to prove how much of a ball winner he is. Because as I said, with Santos's statistics in Ligue 1, with tackles and interceptions, maybe that's something he might have over Lavia if we don't see Lavia really become an enforcer. So the balance is better defensively without Enzo, but it's still not perfect. So we'll see how that goes. So yeah, very interesting on that. I think he's also, very much trying to hammer on about the Cole Palmer, not relying upon him completely now, obviously in the thumbnail, and rightly so. Cole Palmer scored at Old Trafford last season in consolation, I guess you could say. He also scored the hat-trick, obviously, at Stamford Bridge for the 4-3 win. Cole Palmer is our main man. Maresca doesn't want to say it. He doesn't want to, try and take responsibility away from the other attackers, and I completely agree with the logic, but he's still our main player. All of our players are available apart from Sancho, who's ill, but also I don't think was ever eligible as well. And he continues to talk about Gusto, but I'm going to save that for the tactical pad because I don't know. I'm not really too sure about where Gusto really I want to see him in this game in the position he's been playing in. But let's get into it. Let's get into the tactical pad. We've got a lot to talk about. Okay, so we're with the tactical pad now. Let's get to talking. This is the team that I want Chelsea to play in this game. Now, the manager, and I quote, did speak about Malo Gusto's role, saying that the reason why he's playing in that left back stroke 10 box to box so many roles is because he feels like we can create and cause problems for the opponent, and Malo Gusto's helping us with that process. He's playing everywhere. Malo Gusto's doing really well and will continue doing that. So it sounds like we're going to play Malo Gusto from the start, but I would prefer Cucurella to play. And I would prefer Chelsea to go back to just a little bit more of a familiar backline in regards to how it looks here, with James at right back, Cucurella at left back, and Colwell and Fofana. And the reason why is because I just feel like Reece James at that position up against Rashford's been the one attacker for Manchester United that's shown glimpses of causing problems this season, glimpses of being back to his old self. Still away, but he is still, for me, the main danger in that Manchester United attack. Bruno Fernandes in big games is very questionable, but that will be down to Caicedo and Lavia to sort out. If it's Garnacho to start on the right side, I would definitely trust Cucurella to deal with him, especially because Garnacho is going to probably try and go around the outside. Cucurella, being left-footed, will be able to see him on that side and deal with him on his stronger left foot, as opposed to a right footer, having to be running on that side when they would really probably deal with a left-footed winger. So I just feel like that aggressive versus aggressive nature of Cucurella and Garnacho is perfectly matched up as well. And also just versatility-wise, it just allows us to still invert Cucurella into that box-to-box role, still go with Reece James and Colwell and Fofana as a back three in possession if we want to build up that way. But if we want to go the other way, it allows us to do it just as well going that way and move Reece James inside or push Reece James up or whatever we want to do. But versatility-wise, we can do either or, because we know Reece James and Cucurella are both really comfortable in centre-back wide positions in a back three, whereas Gusto is not. So I think tactically being versatile in our build-up, how unpredictable we are in our shape in the first phase, I think that would be brilliant to have those two starting. And I think Cucurella is that kind of dog, that kind of menace that you want to have at Old Trafford in a game like this, where Manchester United for sure are going to start fast and they're going to try and pen us in like Newcastle did. I don't think there's any getting away from the fact that Man United are probably going to press really aggressively from the beginning. I think that can work in our favor. I'm not worried about that, but it's something that has to be noted, is that then I don't see them coming out calm and collected. They're trying to prove a point to their new manager who's arriving in November. They're trying to, prove a point in front of Ruud van Nistelrooy at Old Trafford and play for him, and they've got rid of Ten Hag now. And the crowd is gonna be up. So I expect Man United to press really high. Newcastle did it. We failed the test in terms of playing out from the back. But this is something I don't think Manchester United can sustain. These players pressing up the pitch, really being energetic, really being very, very bold in their play. I don't think Man United can sustain this over 90 minutes. So I think as the game goes on, they will start to funnel back into position. They will start to drop a bit deeper, and they don't look like a team in this 11 that I've put out that can keep the ball, and they shouldn't be keeping the ball better than us. So we should be having possession. We can still, at times against Newcastle, did show we could play through a couple of times and then have opportunities on the break with Dewsbury Hall, etc. But if we can play through that Man United press, which I don't think will be as good as Newcastle's press. I don't think Rashford and Bruno and I don't think these guys, Xerxes, if he plays, maybe it'll be Hairline. I don't think they're better at pressing than Longstaff, Gordon, Joe Linton, Willock. I don't think they're better pressing than those guys. I think we can play through them, and I think we can tire them out. And as the game goes on, we can start to control and dictate. And we saw that in other big games where they played Tottenham, where they played Liverpool. Yes, they had patches of the game where they were trying to be really energetic and really open and really adventurous, but they do calm themselves down. They do run out of steam. And that's where the technical quality of the team needs to show that we're better than them on the football pitch. Caicedo and Lavia got no issues in front of our backline with their press resistance. And obviously we're not playing with the Monaco, Chuckle brothers, Badiashile, Disasi. Those guys are not in that defense. Sanchez has got to come in. Let's just put him in there because he's going to play. But we're not going to be playing with those two defensively. So again, I'm not expecting a whole heap of mistakes. Yes, we still concede, and that's why I predicted 4-1. Probably more modest to say 3-1, but I'm not expecting the level of mistakes that those two were making. Now, so yeah, Manchester United, this midfield, Ugarte, Bruno Fernandes, Casemiro, that's what I'm expecting it to be. That's not a midfield that keeps possession. Now, it could be Hairline that starts. That's less possession, right? That's even more transitional. That's even more a team that's set up to do low blocks and counter, because Rashford's good in behind, Garnacho's good in behind, Bruno Fernandes will play those long range passes from deep and will try to find runners, and that's fine. But at the end of the day, Manchester United, their midfield should not be keeping the ball as well as ours. We should be keeping the ball a lot better than Ugarte, Fernandes, Casemiro, and we should be controlling this game in their half and keeping the ball. And it does expose us to the break, and we need to be aware of that. That's one thing I will 100% admit. They're going to be looking to potentially counter once they've got ahead of steam. We need to be able to stop them. Now, from our point of view, Palmer's the key man. Jackson, like I said, pinning himself maybe to Martinez, seeing that as a weakness. We've seen all angles. As I said in the thumbnail, Palmer's capable of scoring from left. He's capable of scoring from right. He is capable of scoring from any position outside that box. We need to get Palmer on the ball as much as possible. I'm sure Casemiro and Ugarte are going to be trying to clamp him. They're going to be trying to get those tackles in. No problem. Because once they get booked, they're not going to touch him. Palmer, get Ugarte and Casemiro, who are a little bit rash, get them booked as early as you can. Whether it's Madueke dribbling at Mazawari, who I saw got absolutely tore up against Liverpool, couldn't handle the pace of the game, was looking like someone that's 10 years older than he actually is. Make him look old, Madueke. Run at him. Give him no rest. Absolutely, bold, brave play. 1v1, attack. Neto, same thing applies to you against Dalot. Dalot's been poor at times this season. Run at him. Absolutely go at him, really attack him 1v1 so you can get your cutbacks. Be on the back post as well. When we saw that header hit the post, give another option in the box. Make sure that we've got numbers in there, and because we do know that we're not going to attack with our fullbacks overlapping. We do know that Cucurella is definitely going to invert. James will be part of the three, so we can defend our counterattacks. We've got enough pace, we've got enough physicality to defend our counterattacks. So even if you want to attack with 5, defend with 5, we've got enough here to say, on a physical aspect, from Cucurella being quick, Fofana being quick, Caicedo, Lavia, we're going to be able to hopefully handle the Garnachos on the break, the Hairlines, the Rashfords. Hairline is a bigger threat for Man United, in my opinion, than Xerxes. In a game like ours, I would much prefer that Xerxes starts. For the type of defenders that we have, I would much prefer Xerxes starts. Even though he's better on the ball, he might help them keep it a bit better. I think Hairline's, and I said it the same with Nunes when he came on for Liverpool in the watch along with Big Six. These physical, kind of P&P chaotic strikers, they're the ones that I fear for versus Colwell, Fofana, not necessarily your tricky, rinky-dinky, give and go strikers. So I'd prefer Xerxes to play. But yeah, for me, Neto at the back post, trying to capitalize on Dallow's sometimes mental deficiencies, and we saw it at Stamford Bridge. He's absolutely dreadful last season. Try to, expose him on that front. But even outside of the 11s, not only do we have a better 11 than them, that's the first thing, our bench is going to be far superior. Manchester United have got injuries, and they're up on screen. Man United have got injuries to Mount. They've got injuries to Anthony. They've got, I don't think Dallow's going to start, and I actually think he'd be better for Man United to maybe play, but we'll see. It's Van Nistelrooy. Maybe he'll throw a curve. But they've got injuries to, a multitude of players, as you can see. And our bench, we've got no injuries. We just got Sancho that's ill, and he was never eligible to play. So even if we're only winning by 1 at halftime, again, as the game goes on, we need to be getting stronger. We've got options off the bench. We've got more energy and more quality on the bench. They're going to have a lot of kids, a lot of academy players, whether it's Wheatley or whatever. It will be, it will be far weaker than ours. And our manager needs to also prove that we're better than Van Nistelrooy, who was not capable of even getting an interim period to prove himself at Manchester United. They just immediately said, no, former manager, you're staying as assistant. That's quite damning. So for me, guys, that's how I feel. That's how I'm looking at the game. I prefer Xerxes to start over Hairline. I prefer Garnacho to start as long as Cucurella is starting on his side over Dalot. And I prefer that Ugarte and Casemiro do play. Let them play, because I think Palmer, regardless of whether, yes, Eriksen's better on the ball. He could help them keep it. But I would like us to control that midfield. I'd like us to control the game. I think we're better off doing that without Eriksen in there. Eriksen versus Palmer is a mismatch, so even if he does play, we can get him there. But I definitely think Palmer can get their midfielders booked early. I think we can attack their fullbacks and expose them. And I think we can handle their attack, which isn't really scoring a lot of goals in the Premier League. I know they scored against Leicester, but they're a bit toothless in attack. So our defense is shaky. Set pieces are, once again, always the biggest problem. We need to defend De Ligt. They don't have the most overpowering team on set pieces. Martinez, we should be dealing with. Their fullbacks, we should be dealing with. Casemiro, Ugarte, and De Ligt, though. Those 3 are the ones we need to watch the most. But yeah, you guys, it's going to be a big game. I'm still predicting a win. I'm not running away from this fixture in terms of the must-win element of it. Absolutely must-win. When you lose to Newcastle midweek, and our bench is what it is. We don't bring on subs. We don't bring on Palmer. We don't have Caicedo. We don't have Jackson. All of our players are fully rested. You look at Manchester United against Leicester, they played a lot of their players that we're playing again on Sunday. So Man United didn't really rest like we did. We've got players that haven't played in a week. They're fully fit. We've got a better bench. We're a better team. We've got better players. And we should have a better manager, right? There's no excuse. We went out the cup for a reason. If we're going to go out the cup, we have to win at Old Trafford. We don't run from that responsibility. We don't run from that expectation. That is an absolute must. Otherwise, that game on Wednesday becomes even more of a piss take, right? So that's how I feel. That's my prediction. That's my starting 11. Although, expect Gusto to start over Cucurella by the sounds of things. But apart from that, you guys, and if it is Gusto, then I think Dalot, that's a better matchup maybe, but we'll see how it all goes. If I don't think Dalot will start. Guys, let me know in the comments down below how you feel about this game. Make sure you smash it with likes, make sure you subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time. In a bit, people. Peace.